Okay, there it is. All right, so we're just recording just the screen. We can't see anybody. Just in case, if we need to go back and refer to it, and it's just so much easier to record it during class rather than me having to go home and record it and then do class the same lecture. So kind of cuts back a little bit. I would like to go over homework 4 and 5. So homework number 4 and homework number 5. I've got 2. If you don't have them, because like I don't blame you if you weren't sure what to bring today. And so what I'm saying is I'm not going to even like grade it today. We still have more homeworks to worry about, right? You have okay.
I have another question about that.
Oh, so since we have more homeworks to stress and worry about, I'm not going to even take this grade right now. I'm not going to come around and stamp it or check it off, if that makes sense. Let's just kind of get back and regroup together, okay, and not stress like, oh, what was due today? And oh my God, this has to be turned in, and what's going to happen, and what about this grade or that grade? Okay, so let's kind of regroup. Go over the calendar first, so that way we can all see kind of like what we're doing. If you haven't had a chance, it was late in the evening by the time I got the calendar up. So January, we've already done, finally got through that crazy month. February, almost over, and it's still madness, right? So I just went ahead and just took that away because we weren't doing anything. Like, I didn't have power. I'm not sure how much or what y'all were dealing with, and it was not nice if you were one of the people without powers, for 3-4 days in that freezing cold weather in your own house, right? I couldn't respond to many of y'all because my phone, right, you probably did the same thing, where I took it inside my car and just charged it and tried to stay warm for a little bit, it's like an hour or so, and then go back inside, and then even then it wasn't like 100% charged because it takes so long to charge from your phone, from your car. Oh, it was madness. So I'm sorry I didn't respond because I was kind of holding on to what battery life I had on my cell phone. Okay. Then finally I got power back. I'm not gonna lie, Friday I just did nothing but clean up the house because the house was a wreck by the time power came on and you could actually see things in their house after not seeing it for 3 or 4 days in the dark. Right? Saturday I didn't do anything. I was just exhausted. So let's regroup and come back to this, and that's the reason why I just barely got this done and sent out yesterday. Okay, if you were wondering what took me so long, that's what took me so long. But today, again, I don't want to take a grade for homework number 4 and homework number 5. Okay, I'm not sure what situation you dealt with and what you had to do. Hopefully you were able to stay warm or go somewhere with somebody to stay warm. It was madness. So let's just do homework 4 and 5 together. Hopefully, again, if we're having questions through the naming, ask me. There's some rules that we kind of like, we have to memorize, and it's not math, like hard like math, it's memorization. And I don't know about you, but I would rather have a math problem so that way I can work through a math problem out than having to memorize stuff. I'm horrible about memorizing stuff. And that's what this unit is kind of about, is memorizing how to name and how to come up with the formulas, right? So let's do homework 4 and 5 together. Go through that. It says here, let's go over the answers from the quiz. What if I screwed up, right? I could have screwed up on that quiz. So let's go through those answers. Everyone should have a quiz paper. When you walk out today, if you want to, there's a stapler in the back of the room. You can staple that quiz together, and you can have it to review before we do take the test for this. Remember, this unit is 2 units combined into 1, so we're actually doing 2 quizzes, all right? And this was the first quiz, okay? So we have another quiz coming up. Let's go over those answers. What if I screwed up and we need to fix and change something, okay? Your results should be open on Blackboard that you can see what you got right and what was marked right. So if you go back today and I'm suggesting, because traditionally last semester we sat there and we were online and I screen shared and you were able to see like what I keyed in as the right answer. I might have keyed it in wrong, if that makes sense. So we can see right there, oh, you owe us 4 points, Ms. Munson. But we don't have Blackboard right now opened up. We're gonna use that paper. Go back, and I'm suggesting, go back and look at your quiz. What if I keyed something wrong? And email me. Hey, Ms. Munson, question number 4, question number 6 looks kind of like you marked it incorrectly or something. Let me know. So, but let's go over those answers. Maybe you can earn some points back, okay? Next one, homework number 6. Let's just talk about homework 6. If you don't have it, please make sure you take pictures of it, right? We're just gonna kind of just go through a few questions. If you do have questions on homework 6, ask me. And then that's it, because it's gonna be due when we see each other again on the 25th. When I re-changed the calendar again, and again, I apologize, right, for this madness. I try to make sure that, again, we were not meeting on any teams on Friday. You know, we were forced to be out for 2 weeks, and then we had this winter storm, and it was madness. So we did do some teams. I'm trying to, since we're coming twice a day, and both of those classes are like an hour and 15, 20 minutes, I'm just trying to let your Friday be for you to get your stuff done. You know, Friday / the weekend kind of time to get your stuff done. All right, today, if there's any questions on the notes, let me know, okay? Please let me know. Other than that, we're gonna go through the foldable, and that's what all that hot mess that you've got right now with you is regarding the foldable, okay? I think tape is easier, but you can glue it however you wanna do it. If you don't tape it or glue it today, not a problem, but at least, maybe while we're doing it, take pictures of the screen so that way you can see, okay, this is how it's gonna be combined together. But there's a lot of it that we're going to write out regarding the foldable. By the time we're done, the foldable is gonna look like this. It's gonna open up into a book. And it has all of those, however many 20 million pages of notes combined into a little flip chart right here. You need to know this, and this, and this. That's it. Okay, and this is how you do it. So, again, I'm not great at memorization. So this foldable helped me out just in case if I'm like, oh God, how do I name it? How do I come up with a formula? Because I would rather do a math problem personally. Thursday, let's come back to class Thursday. Go over homework number 6 answers. I am gonna take that as a grade, right? I take for completion, not correctness, if some of us were, questioning. Homework number 7, it says here that we're gonna look at that, but it's not gonna be due until March the 2nd in class, okay? But we'll look at it again. If you don't have it with you at the time, just take some pictures because we're only gonna go over a few questions from homework 7. And then it says here, station lab, okay? So the lab itself, there's some of it that you can do online, which will be this Friday over here. There's like a website that, remember last semester when we were doing this together, we kind of had, I videoed it and I'm like, okay, this is station 1 and here's how it's gonna look and here's, you got card sort or you gotta do this or that, okay? For this station lab, there's a station where you're gonna have to actually go to the chemicals and you're gonna mix them and then you're gonna see what happens when they bond together. And use those chemical properties to decide if it was a cation or anions, okay? We're gonna have another station where you're gonna put this electrode in it and mix this stuff up and then see if it turns the light on, if it doesn't, whether it's a cation or anion chemical. So we're gonna have different stations that you gotta do in class, okay? And then there's some of it that you can do out of class. So that part over here, I'm gonna video and have that up, but it's not gonna be up until Friday, okay? So we will do the first part here together on Thursday, try to get as much of it done together, not together, as you rotate around. And then on Friday, the other part that's not gonna be in class, you'll know which part it is. You're gonna have to go on Friday, go watch it. Honestly, you've got Saturday and Sunday to do it too, but I just put it on there so that way, Ms. Belcher knows that we're still busy on Friday, but do it on your Saturday or Sunday if you prefer. Let's keep going, just to make sure, because we just talked about this week. Let's talk about next week too, and then I will leave you alone regarding the calendar. Next week here, we're going to go ahead and this month and you skipped it, I know. The quiz. So the quiz that you took online, which was part 1 of the unit 7, part 2 is going to be there on Friday. So again, if you don't do that rotation lab or the second part of the lab, that's okay. Do it Saturday or Sunday, okay? But the quiz is gonna be on there, it's gonna be naming. You can't really, there's gonna be some of them where you type it, so don't freak out, some questions, right? And you know how the computer is. If I typed, let's just say the first and second name with the capital and first letter, and then the rest were lowercase, and you typed it all lowercase, that doesn't make you incorrect. That makes sense. But it's gonna mark you wrong, so don't freak out. Have I gone over and went back to that last previous quiz? I haven't yet, okay? So I do gotta go back and put your official grade on that last previous quiz, and that's my goal for today, okay? Again, if there's something wrong between today's answers, and by the time we come back on Thursday, please let me know so I can make those corrections on your quiz grade, okay? But we're gonna do a quiz here. Friday, and then the rotation lab, which you can do on Saturday or Sunday. The quiz must be done on Friday during class time. Next week on Tuesday, go over the answers. So again, I'm gonna print it out, pass it out to you, just like I did right now. We're gonna go over homework number 7 answers together. We're gonna finish that station lab because I know we're not gonna finish it in class on Thursday. And other than that, it's gonna be due by the end of class. So what I'm trying to say here is whatever is started in class needs to be finished in class. The part that is gonna be done at home needs to be done at home. So if you don't do it on Friday, then you have to get it done Saturday or Sunday, because we're gonna come back to class and we're not gonna have time for you to log onto a computer and finish that other part, if that makes sense. So the part that's gonna be done at home must be finished at home. The part in class, you don't finish it on the first day, you can finish it on this day. Okay, it's quicker that you're done with this lab, you're done with class for this day, and you can leave. Next week on Thursday, test review. So I will put that test review. I don't have it right now ready because again, I have them broke up into 2 units. So I'm gonna combine the test review together. Okay, and then it says here, go over the molecular shape lab. Remember that was a computer one, and it was in like 4 weeks or so when we started this, maybe 3 weeks. And it was one that you did at home, and we've never done anything over it. We haven't really looked at it. There was one day on Teams where somebody had a question, so I answered that question. If you have any questions before this day, please let me know. But this is the day that we're gonna go over the answers. I don't think I put it on there, and I will go back and correct and revamp the calendar again. But now that I'm looking at it, obviously I made a mistake and forgot to put a due date for this. So, oh, I didn't need to do that. Answers. So, we're gonna put it here. I'm gonna go to the computer again, and I know it sounds crazy, but if we're going over the answers here, we need to make sure that we turn in due today. I know you had it, and you've had it for weeks, so please make sure that you know which day that it's due. So I will go back to the calendar and make sure that I put that on there as a due date. I apologize, I just see it right now, and I'm glad that I caught that. And then it says here, next week on Friday, we're not doing anything. There is no expectations for you at all. All right, so sleep in or do what you gotta do, or go get lunch early or take your nap or something. But just in case, if we need to, the unit notes that we're on right now, the test is gonna be on the 9th. So we still have a few weeks before then, okay, before we actually take the test. And so I'll leave you alone on that calendar. I'll change that one little thing just in case, just so there's no excuses or reasons, or I didn't know, Ms. Munson. I'm gonna make that change, I apologize. Let's look at, get homework 4 out, homework 5 out, and keep out that test, the quiz. So the quiz, again, I apologize, there's a lot of pages, but it's because I kinda spread it out, and I have like a big font, it's like, I don't know, 12 or something. So let's go through the answers on our quiz over here. This was part 1. Part 2 is gonna be this Friday. Again, I left some big spaces, and so that's the reason why it seems like it's so many pages. But there it is, it's printed out for you. The next quiz that we do, again, I'll make sure to print it out for you, so that way you don't have to be like, oh, wait a minute, what's, you know, what is it? Plus, you'll have it in front of you that you can use to study if need be, okay? So I just think it's nice to have the actual quiz in front of you. I'm gonna also, while we're here, I don't know if I did that. I've got your last notes, test review and stuff to pass back, but let me double check to make sure I put it into what do you call it? My grade book, okay? And I don't wanna screw up and give it to you back and I didn't put it into the grade book. I think I did, but you never know. I'm human, I could have made a mistake. All right, so let's look at this quiz first. And then let me get my homework out. So I got homework 5. And then we're gonna go through this foldable. If you don't finish any class, I'm not expecting you to. If you wanna just say, okay, I know what we're doing now, you're more than welcome to leave then. But I just kinda wanna go through it with you and just kinda set you up on there. What's going on with my quiz? you to go ahead and identify if it's ionic, covalent, or metallic bond. And so hopefully it was, I think the last page in your notes was like a summary between all of them. And I was hoping that's what you used when you took your quiz. Please use your notes still to take your quiz, right? Since we're gonna do our testing class. But compounds that have the highest melting point, so highest melting point was the key word here. That was an ionic bond. Made when cations donate. So a key word was donate. Okay, why is that a key word? Because it's not sharing. If it's sharing, it's covalent. Since it's donating and accepting, then it's ionic. The type of bond shown here in this diagram, what I needed to see from this diagram is that I have right here, 2 atoms, and this is a nonmetal plus a nonmetal bonded together, so it's a covalent bond. All right. The next thing here, don't forget also a line is an indication that that's a covalent bond. Okay. Mobile electrons in this bond account for the ductile and electrical thermal conductivity, metallic bonding, right? Because the valence electrons can fling off and jump off of the atoms so easily for metals. That's how we have electricity that flows through, copper wires and aluminum wires or through metal so easily. The next one, the type of bond, it says here shown in this diagram. Well, I see that I have a metal, I have a nonmetal, and a nonmetal together, so that's going to be an ionic bond, okay? Salts are made from it. The key word was salts. Salts is an indication that it's an ionic bond. Electrons are shared. Key word here is shared. I can stop reading because I know that's covalent bonding. Type of bonding shown in this diagram. I see a nonmetal and a nonmetal bonded together, covalent bonding. And then the next one, AlCl3 contains which type of bond? I see a metal plus a nonmetal, so that's ionic bonding. Don't forget, when a metal and nonmetal bonding, the metal goes first. When a polyatomic and a nonmetal are bonding, the polyatomic goes first, okay? So the nonmetal will definitely always be second. He's last. Determine, says here in the statement, whether it's true or false. First part here, it says that a double bond involves 2 pairs of electrons. Is that true or false?
True.
A double bond involves 2 pairs of electrons. Let's see. 1, 2. So this is 1 pair. This is 2 pairs. True. There's a question on here that was like really weird. I don't know if you caught that one. The next one. N2 is an example of a compound with a triple bond. Well, it's also over here, but it was in your notes too. I think page 2 or 3. That's true. Covalent bonds involve sharing. Covalent does share. True. Triple bond involves 3 and only 3 electrons. And I thought that one, hopefully you caught that one. That is false. A triple bond is going to be 2, 4, 6. All right. There's no way that it's only 3. Ionic solids conduct electricity when dissolved in water. Ionic solids is like sodium chloride, so like table salt. And if you were able to dissolve it, would electricity be able to flow through it? Yes, that's true as well. Okay, I guess for an example, if there was water all over the floor, or there was water, or if you're running around through the rain, or if you're in a body of water, somewhere's near water and there's electricity, right? You know, you got lightning going on or electricity or something. I would rather be in the nice, clean, deionized, no ions water, so the electricity won't flow through it as quickly versus salt water, right? That's an ionic compound where those electricity can pass from ion to ion and jump a lot faster. The next one, determine the molecular geometry shape for the molecules that has. So the first one here says the shape of a molecule whose central atom has 4 pairs of bonding electrons. Now when you looked at this one, I was truly hoping deep down inside that you used, and let me grab it, our lab activity. This is what I was hoping that you were using, okay? So let's move it here. A molecule whose central atom has 4 pairs of bonding electrons. So if it has 4 pairs of bonding electrons, it doesn't say anything about lone pairs, okay? So I'm gonna have 4 pairs, where am I at? Of bonding electrons. So I'm just gonna put a Ca, and I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what it's gonna kind of look like, if that makes sense. A little bit to you, I'm hoping. Okay? And so in this case, if I have 4 pairs of bonding electrons, I'm gonna have 4 single bonds and 0 lone pairs. Do you see how I'm looking at the chart? This is a tetrahedral, okay? So 4 regular bonds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 lone pairs, there's no lone pairs, and this is what we call tetrahedral. Okay? The next one, and again, I was hoping you had this in front of you when you were doing it. It says here that the shape of the molecule that contains 2 covalent single bonds, so 2 bonds, and no lone pairs on the Ca. So let me go back and let's draw a Ca here, and I have 2 covalent single bonds. 1, 2 covalent single bonds, no lone pairs. So let's come back over here to our chart. 2 single bonds, 0 lone pair, linear. And that's how I use this chart to answer that. Okay, linear. The shape that has 3 single covalent bonds and 1 lone pair on the Ca. So here goes my Ca. I'm going to have a pair of lone bonds. And then it says I'm going to have 3 single bonds. 1, 2, 3. And why is it like that? Because this guy, or these 2 electrons here, are so strong that they push and they repel the other electrons. That's why they shove them out of the way. And so in this case, let's come over here. We've got 3 and 1. 3 and 1 is right here. Okay, 3 singles, 1 set of lone pair. We're going to call that triangular. Angular, I don't know, I'm horrible at pronouncing it. Pyramidal. Alright. So I kind of got to go back to make sure that you didn't get, they didn't mark you wrong, even though you typed it, but maybe you just typed it a little different from me. Alright, maybe you put it all in caps, and I put it all in lower cases. So don't freak out yet on that quiz. The next one here, the shape of the molecule that has 3 single bonds and no lone pairs. Okay, so 3 single bonds, no lone pairs, triangular planar. So hopefully, and that was my goal, hopefully being able to look and see how I was able to come up with the answers for, and let's look at this, molecular geometry shapes. Molecular geometry shapes. So that's what I was hoping. I was hoping that you had this in front of you and you were looking at the bonds, or how many single bonds, and then lone pairs, and then able to determine what the name of it was. And this is what I used, okay? That's what I looked at. The next one, a nonpolar covalent bond is one in which electrons are transferred, electrons are shared equally, electrons are shared unequally, both electrons are provided by the same atom. They are shared, this is nonpolar, equally. Polar is when one of them is a little bit stronger because of its electronegativity, okay? And they're a little stronger and they can pull more of the electrons towards it. They have a stronger bond around them. Let's turn that page. Double check again, now that you have the answers, go and look at the actual quiz. I would give me like till tonight, maybe this afternoon, to go back and like actually fix the grade, so that way, you can see, oh, she did give me those points even though I typed it all in lower cases or something, okay? So give me a little bit of time. It says here, tell whether or not the following molecules satisfy the octet rule. The octet rule, remember it's in our notes, they want to achieve 8 valence electrons. There's a couple of exceptions to the rule. Boron is only 6, and then we have hydrogen, which is only 2, okay? So there's a few exceptions in this set of unit of notes. has a lot of exceptions to the rule, like, it's ridiculous. And just in case if we were wondering, we talked about that in our notes. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere in over here, okay? Well, our exceptions to the rules are, I might be wrong, but here it is. Boron is 6, hydrogen is 2, everybody else is 8. Okay, so it is in our notes regarding the octet rule. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. What you need to do though is you need to look at every single atom separately. So when I look at just the oxygen, this is 2, this is 2, this line is 2, and that's 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oxygen's good. Come over here to the nitrogen. 2, 4, 6, 7. No. The next one, B. Let's determine whether or not it satisfies the octet rule. Well, I'm going to look over here at this first hydrogen. It's to the left. 2, 4, 6, 8. Check. Oxygen. 2, 4, 6, 8. Check. Fluorine. 2, 4, 6, 8. Check. B is good. The next one, I'm going to look at the oxygen just to the left. 2, 4, 6, and that's it. I can stop right there and say that no, C does not abide by the octet rule. All right. Beryllium is a BE. It's not boron, which is just a B. So hydrogen is 2. That's a check. This hydrogen is 2. He's a check. But this is only 2, 4, and he needs to achieve 8. So D is a no. Let's go ahead and let's look at the fluorines. And all the fluorines, if you look at them, they're all the same. So let's just check out one fluorine. 2, 4, 6, 8. So that fluorine's a check, and they're all going to be the same, right? And sulfur. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's a little too much. No. Okay? The rules are in our notes. It comes down to boron is 6, hydrogen is 2, everybody else is 8. Alrighty? Let's keep going. Write the formula for the ionic compounds it says here that are formed. Well, in this case, you need to hopefully have the periodic chart because I don't have them all memorized. I still look at the periodic chart. I write down my oxidation numbers, or I at least somehow know them, right? Magnesium is a metal. Magnesium is in group 2, so that's a +2. All metals have a positive cation charge. Oxygen is a nonmetal, so it's a negative -2. I crisscross them. Don't forget, what happens to ionic bonds? They must be reduced. And since they must be reduced, instead of a 2 and a 2, it's a 1 and a 1. So MgO is the correct answer. So for if anybody put Mg2O2 and you got it wrong and you're like, well, why did I get this one wrong? That's the reason why. Okay, let's keep going. Lead 4, okay, Roman numerals in the parentheses. So that's a +4 because it's a metal. Oxygen is a -2. Crisscross them. Wait a minute, we gotta reduce. So when we reduce them, this lead is gonna be a 2 over here. This is a 4. I'm gonna reduce them to a 1 and a 2, if that makes sense. And so it should be PB, no number behind it, O2. And that's how I got PbO2. Give it to me. Did I mess up?
No, I was just gonna say, like, since it was the way you said we have them lowercase and uppercase, would this break the rule since it's supposed to have some lowercase?
Yes, I would not, I will, yes, I can't give credit. Yeah, we write because we definitely, that's something that we learned at the beginning of last semester, like we definitely know that all atoms are all elements on the periodic table. If it's 2 letters, the first letter is always capitalized. If it's only 1 letter, it's still only capitalized. If it's 2 letters, the second one then is lowercase. So PbO2, it needs to be capital, lower, capital in this case. And then the 2. I will say though, I'm not expecting you to do the little house top and then the 2. If you just put a 2, I am 100% okay with that. I think that's going overboard. But I think we definitely need to know, because if they were all capitals, isn't there an element on the periodic table that's a capital B, for an example? There is. So if, I'm just throwing it out there. If for some reason somebody put a capital B, capital P, capital B, capital O, that would be 3 atoms bonded together versus 2 two of them. But the number two, however you type the number two, I don't care if you even type the TWO or parentheses, I would be happy, okay? But I'm not expecting you to do the little house hop or whatever it is to make it so a small one. The next one, chromium, which is a metal again, that is a +2 because of the parentheses. Bromine is a -3. I'm gonna crisscross them. I cannot reduce a 2 and a 3 anymore. So in this case, Cr, and I'm lying, bromine's 1. It's over here in group 17, Br, it's in blue. It's in blue because on this periodic table, the blue indicates and tells you that it has more than just, at room temperature, it's more than just a solid, a metal, or a gas. It can be multiple. So, I'm sorry, Cr, Br2. So, a 2 and a 1 cannot reduce. Write the formula for the ionic compound form Ba, which is a metal, okay? It's in group 2, so that's a +2 charge. Phosphate is a non-metal, and let me just double check over here in group 15, right under nitrogen. So phosphate is a -3 charge, crisscross them, that I cannot reduce. So Ba3P2. The next one, I've got sodium, which is a metal, and that's in group 1, Na, so +1. Sulfate, give it to me.
For phosphate, isn't it, a polyatomic ion?
Ooh, yes, and I just said phosphorus. Good call. Ba3 parentheses PO4 parentheses 2 because that 2 came down over there. Good call. Absolutely. Now sulfate, I finally clicked as a polyatomic. And so that is a -2 charge. But because I don't trust myself, let me get my notes out. Because memorizing them is kind of hard. Sulfate is a -2 charge. So that is a -2. Crisscross them, I can't reduce a 1 and a 2. So in this case now, it's gonna be Na2 that comes over. This 1 came over from the sodium, so we do not put parentheses. And I know I said that multiple times. I'm gonna say it right now with everybody with me right now. If it's a polyatomic and a 1 crosses over, it is incorrect to add parentheses. If it's a polyatomic and a 2, 3, 4, or anything else crosses over, you